Unit 6, Lesson 4, Student Example Number 2. Draw the graph of y equals 2x plus 1. What is the value of y when x equals 3? So the first thing you want to do when you are drawing a graph from an equation is to create a table of values. So let's go ahead and do that. Putting my x in the left column and my y in the right, I can create arbitrary values for x and then figure out my y's from there. So let's create 1 through 5 for x. Now to figure out what our y equals when our x equals one of these values here, we can just use this formula and substitute. Y equals 2. Now let's figure it out when x equals 1. So where I saw x in the formula, I'm going to substitute 1 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So when x equals 1, y equals 3. Doing the same thing for our next x value, substitute 2 in instead. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So y equals 5. Continuing, substituting in 3 instead now. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Substituting in 4. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Substituting in 5. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So now we have a sufficient number of data points right here to plot on our graph. Let's draw in our axes lines. I'm going to say that every point, every square on my graph counts for 2. So I'm only going to label every second. So this will be 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Same thing going up. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Going down, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, and negative 10. Going this way, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, and negative 10. Now that my axes are labeled, I can plot my points. I have x as being 1 and y as being 3. So that data point would go right there. I have x as being 2 and y as being 5, right there. X as being 3 and y as being 7, so right about there. X as being 4, y as being 9. And right now, my last point won't really fit too well on my graph, but that's okay. 4 points is enough. So I can draw my line through these, and we'll see that it's a linear equation. Sometimes when you're graphing, your points might not lay directly on the line. If your scale isn't quite precise enough, that's okay. You can see that these points lay in a pretty much linear relationship, so we can assume that we have a linear graph. All right, so that would be a good graph. Make sure that you do draw the arrowheads on the end of this line. Show that that line continues. The next part of the question asks, what is the value of y when x equals 3? Well, we can look right back at our table of values, and we can see that when x equals 3, y equals 7.